Mama said, hold on to the vision, hold on to the dream, hold on to the mission, hold on to the team, hold on to his word, hold on to the king, hold on to the hurt, make you better than you seen.
I'm no longer dead, he raised me up in 3. You could almost call me Kareem, his last name's on me. God with me since the kid, call me a protein. Lord, help me getting big, this word like a protein. I can't give up cause I've been stuck in my own jail. Lord said I had to get up off the same track, like a road rail. Mama said I gotta trust God cause his word true and he won't fail. Mama said I gotta trust God cause his word's true and he won't fail.
Mama said, hold on to the vision, hold on to the dream, hold on to the mission, hold on to the team, hold on to his word, hold on to the king, hold on to the hurt, make you better than you seen.
Mama really looking out for me, and I trust that my God knows where she goes. I ain't talking bad money. Remember days we ain't had nothing. Remember days we ain't had money. All we had was some prayer and some pay. Us looking back is mad funny. Looking back how my God really came through. He can do the same for you. Laying hands pray for you. Speak up, say the truth. Lord, hold me in your grace. No, I won't run away from you. Lord, take me to the place where I see the sunshine when it's true.
Mama said, hold on to the vision, hold on to the dream, hold on to the mission, hold on to the team, hold on to his word, hold on to the king, hold on to the hurt, make you better than you seen. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies, working on the enemy problems. You intervene, take away my tendencies, brother, that's finna intercede. Wait, breathe, Lord, show me when I cannot see. Lord, take me where I need to be. Take me to a new place, take me to a new space, walking in a new way, walking in the big faith. I'm in your presence, Lord, trying to seek your face. Hold on to the vision, hold on to the dream, hold on to the mission, hold on to the team, hold on to his word, hold on to the king, hold on to the hurt, make you better than you seen. Mama said, hold on to the vision, hold on to the dream, hold on to the mission, hold on to the team, hold on to his word, hold on to the king, hold on to the hurt, make you better than you seen.
I'm no longer dead, he raised me up in 3. You could almost call me Kareem, his last name's on me. God with me since the kid, call me a protein. Lord, help me getting big, this word like a protein. I can't give up cause I've been stuck in my own jail. Lord said I had to get up off the same track, like a road rail. Mama said I gotta trust God cause his word true and he won't fail.
Mama said, hold on to the vision, hold on to the dream, hold on to the mission, hold on to the team, hold on to his word, hold on to the king, hold on to the herd, make you better than you seem.
I'm no longer dead. He raised me up in three. You could almost call me Kareem. His last name's on me. God witnesses the pit. Call me a protein. Lord, help me getting big. His word like a protein. I can't give up 'cause I've been stuck.
Amen. What's up, everybody? Good evening. Welcome to Solomon's Table. This is going to be a phenomenal night. I'm going to show you some things that I've learned and some things that could potentially be the maker or breaker of your financial future. And I think it's going to be phenomenal. So this is a public stream. So send this to 10 people and let them know if you want to build something that lasts, come on alive. I was thinking of something else, but I'm not going to say that one. I'm excited for tonight because it's going to be phenomenal. It's going to really help us know how to build something that lasts. If you're here already, I want you to type in the comments. It must be built to last. Your financial world must be built to last. Okay. A lot of times when we're considering finances, money, and our resources, I don't know why. Is this just my camera? Or is this, it looks dark on my phone. Hold on, maybe that's my, hold up. Oh, that was just my phone, sorry. I wanted to make sure I wasn't crazy. But whenever you are considering finances, a lot of people only consider the today. And the danger in only considering today is you live from a place of survival. And when you live from a place of survival, you only do enough to make enough, to live enough, to only pay bills, to pay off debt. And that is not the purpose of money. The purpose of money is to make more of it. Okay, I want you to type that in the comments. Money's responsibility is to make more of itself. Okay. And a lot of people don't really consider that it is necessary to consider money as a tool that is used to bring results in other areas of your life, right? If the scripture says it like this, money answers all things. That means that money has the ability to hear and money has the ability to go. It has the ability to hear and it has the ability to go. That means that if I tell my money what to do, then it has to do what I tell it to do. It no longer is controlled or it no longer controls me. I control it. And most people don't realize this until they're under the money and the money isn't under them. Okay. And so what I want us to really understand tonight is, how do you build a financial legacy from $0? Here is the principle. The first principle: you have to start somewhere. Now, you may be watching and you may not have $0. You may have $100,000. You may not have $0, but you may have $15. It doesn't matter. You need to start thinking about it, because you don't start building when you have it. You start building before you have it, because when you start building before you have it, you build yourself. Okay. And as you are building yourself, you're building your education, you're building your mentality, you're building your skill set, you're building your tools, you're building all of the things that is required for you to be able to tell money what to do. You are only, No, let me not say that. Your money is only as strong as what you know about it. Okay? That means that if you are ignorant to what money's responsibility is and how you are to navigate it and tell it what to do in your life, then you begin to become a victim to the culture, the standards of the culture. Because our culture lives from supply and demand, right? Meaning there has to be a supply and there has to be a demand. There also has to be a demand, thus there has to be a supply. If there is a need in an area, then that means that there is a demand. But if there is a deficit, then there's poverty. Okay. If there is more demand than there is supply, that is poverty. Hello. I hope I'm making sense to you. So as a person, you got to understand what money's job is in your life. Okay. And if you don't understand the basic principles of the dollars, then you will never be able to create a legacy that lives beyond you. So I'm kind of going to talk about the financial systems that you may want to consider to prepare yourself. Okay. So if you're here, I want you to put some fire in the chat and let me know that you're here, right? I'm here. I'm here. I'm here. I'm here. I'm here. Okay. We here. Excuse me. All right. So let me give you a brief history. Okay. In about 2017, I began my financial career. That's not truth. It was actually in 2015. About 2015, I began my financial career in banking. And I wanted to learn more about money the way our counterparts know about it. Okay. And I wanted to understand it because I believe that I was supposed to be a kingdom financier, meaning I'm supposed to be someone that funds projects, expansions, and things that bring the kingdom into spaces where the kingdom is not. Now, in that vein, okay, I began to pursue a career in financial services and financial advising. So in this, I learned insurance. I learned a little bit about taxes. I learned about investments. I learned how to curate a financial plan for a person that directed them into long-term success. I want you to type in the comments, long-term success. And the reason why we consider it to be long-term success is because we don't plan just for today. We plan for the tomorrow and the tomorrows that will come after tomorrow. The purpose of a financial plan is for you to identify where you are, what's holding you back, and where you desire to go. And to kind of like put that in the right order, you identify where you are, where you want to be, and what's holding you back from getting to where you want to be. And when I understand what's holding me back, then I'm able to better strategize and put systems and processes into my financial world that have the ability to bring me into financial success. Now, as I am talking about financial success, we need to define what that means. Financial success is not a dollar amount. Financial success is not how much money you have. Financial success is how much money you can keep and transfer to another generation. Financial success, this is my definition. When I think of financial success, I think that I have purposed my money to exist beyond my time. Okay? It's almost as if, just like the scripture says, a good man leaves an inheritance for his children's children, right? That's my reality. This is how I think about money. So true financial success is not you having $1 million. True financial success is being able to put to use the $1 million to help someone else. Meaning, true financial success is in servanthood. This is why I say that you cannot serve money. Money has to serve you. When you serve money, you become a slave to it. Thus, you do what it tells you to do. But when you are the slave master to the dollar, meaning you control the dollar or the yen or whatever currency it is, then you now become a person that can put opportunities into place where money now serves you and serves other people. I want you to type this in the comments. Money is supposed to serve others and not just me. True financial success is when my dollars can serve other people even without my presence. That's financial success. So when we're talking about financial planning, we are talking about putting together a system and a process for you to be able to reach your goals and your goals outlive you. This is why I don't plan with everybody. You have to, if you're going to work with me, you have to have a big picture. What are you doing all of this for? Why do you want millions? What is the motive behind the desire to have more? Because having more isn't bad, but it can reveal a level of wickedness in your heart if it only serves your self-interests. I don't want more money only to prove that I can buy Gucci and Louis Vuitton and Fendi and sneakers and all the stuff. That's good. I do want it. It's not bad to want it. But that cannot be my primary focal point in me desiring to have financial success and financial longevity. Now, in that frame, right? What is your big picture? Now, this is a snippet of my book. So go get the book if you haven't gotten the book. It should be in the comments. It should be in the description. It is. Go get the book. I'm telling you. Because you need to know what is the big picture. Now, we talked about we did a financial planning night the other week, a couple weeks ago. And I talked about the levels to your financial vision. You got the personal, you got the familial, the social, the I think I said generational. Then you have regional, national, international, or global. Those are the 7 levels of financial planning. So in that, before you get to that, what's the big vision? What's the big dream? Because if you don't have the big vision and the big dream, the plan doesn't make sense. You can't plan something that opposes the dream. Let me give you an example. If the dream that I have is to, I want to build community homes for people who are homeless in the DMV. That's my big dream, right? That's my big dream. And I plan now to move to Dubai. Your dream and your plan are in opposition to one another. So the planning, the financial planning, has to be directed toward the big dream. The big dream isn't gonna happen the same night or the same year. Well, it could, but it has the potential. That's why the scripture says to write the vision, make it plain, that he who reads it may run with it. Though the vision tarries, wait for it, because it will surely speak. Meaning it will be revealed. You will be able to see it in intangibility. By the time your dream comes true, you should be able to touch it. I've touched it with my imagination, but then I'm going to touch it with my hands at some point. So if your plan opposes the dream, you got to reconsider the plan. So let me go back to what I asked you. What is the big vision? What is the big dream? What is the big mission? And who is on the team? That's my song. I hope that's clear for you. Now, I have a framework for, I call it the wealth cycle. I want you to type that in the comments. The wealth cycle. Now, this is how you're going to begin building your financial legacy from zero. There are 5 phases to the wealth cycle. And I call it a cycle because they are interworking within each other and they go back into each other. They are interwoven in each other. Because you'll start to get to one place and then have to go back. And it's not like you're not progressing. The cycle just overlaps with each other. It folds. Okay? Some of you right now are not at the end of the cycle because you're not in retirement. Some of you right now are not even in the second step. Most people who are watching me right now today are on step 1. The first step or the first phase of the wealth cycle is creation. It's called financial creation. Financial creation. Financial creation. You know, I'm going to go live on TikTok. I don't know what I'm doing. Okay. Oh, it has the title on there. That's interesting. Somebody say financial creation. What is financial creation? Financial creation is you. It's you. All right. Okay? Financial creation is you. That means that you are in the process of becoming someone that understands who you are and what your responsibilities are in the earth. When you're in the financial creation level, the financial creation level is not even, nothing is formed. It's an imagination. It's a thought. It's a way of thinking. You're in the preformative level. When we are considering financial creation, we are talking about me becoming somebody that can create something. Because I can't create wealth if I am not created. And when I say I am not created, nothing is created in me. You can't create wealth if you're selfish. You will not create wealth if you are not considerate of people. You will never create wealth if you don't think about what the problems other people are having. Wealth is a direct connection between someone's problem and your observation and solution of the problem. And there is a financial exchange in that process. So for example, if I notice that there is a problem with the walls in every store that I go into, there is a hole in the wall. And I am a construction worker, but I specialize in pest control, right? I'm already noticing that there is a problem, but because wealth is already created in me, I can give the problem a solution because I have the solution. And in that process, I am exchanging value for money. So now somebody is paying me. Somebody is giving me money for helping them solve something that they could not solve on their own. Meaning, wealth or financial creation is the result of me becoming somebody that is worth creating something that somebody can utilize. So wealth has to be created in you before wealth can be given to you. It's impossible for somebody to create wealth if they themselves are not wealth. There's a principle that I live by in my life. You attract who and what you are. I want y'all to type that in the comments. I will always attract who and what I am. And not only will I attract it, I will entertain it. Because, things just happen, But if I'm entertaining it, that means that is still a part of me. Let me give you an example. If I want better clients, I have to become a better client. Yeah. If I want better team members, I have to become a better team member. Yeah. The Bible says it like this. If you want to get friends, you must show yourself to be friendly. Meaning you have to invest or deposit in the area that you want to reap or have return on. If you haven't deposited good friendship, you can't expect to have good friends around you. If you haven't deposited good decision making, you can't expect people to buy your products because you're indecisive. You attract and entertain who and what you are. That's the principle. Uh-huh. So this is the process of what? Creation. Wealth must be created in you before wealth is created from you. Because if I give someone something that I'm not, I'm cheating them. I'm actually a thief and a robber. I hope that makes sense. So some people right now are in the creation phase. The creation phase is me understanding who I am, me recognizing and reconciling the fact that I am not the best. It's me understanding that I'm actually very selfish. It's me realizing that the reason why things aren't happening in my life is because I am not a person of value. The reason why I haven't produced or got any type of results is because I am not a person that is worthy yet. Here's the problem. Your perception of you is not the same perception that people have of you. You could think you the best piece of bread in the loaf, and people could think that you're the end part, the part that nobody eats. So the question is, how do you perceive you, but how do other people perceive you? Because you can perceive yourself to be something that other people do not. And don't lie to yourself, because your results will be an indication of what's the truth. I want y'all to type in the comments, do not be an end loaf or the end piece. Do not be the end piece of the bread. I use this when I talk about relationships. You want your spouse to do something, but you don't do it. You want your brother or your leader or whoever to give you what you have not. This is where we get like false or mismanaged expectations from. Because your perception of yourself is so inflated with pride that you think highly of yourself than you should. You're not that good, and that's okay. That's why there is a thing called introspection to know if my finances are not where I want them to be, who have I not become yet? The difference between where you are and where you desire to be is who you have become. Not what you have to do. Because what you have to do will be a fruit of who you've become. I hope I'm making sense to you. So the first stage or the first phase of the wealth cycle is creation. What value do I present to the marketplace? Whether that be my job, whether that be my business, whether that be my business partners, who have I become valuable to? If you're not valuable to you yet, meaning you don't take care of you, you will never be able to take care of anybody else. If you're not valuable to your friendships, you'll never be a good business partner. If you're not valuable to your small clients, quote unquote, you will never be good to your clients that have the potential to pay you 6 and 7 figures. You cannot, hear me, you cannot sow bad things and expect a good harvest. Creation is about me becoming a person of value. How do I become a person of value? I observe, I ask questions, I ask more questions, I look for solutions, I become a solution, and then I present my solution. That's how I can become a person of value. I hope this is making sense. Share this with somebody right now if you have the opportunity. Share this with somebody because I'm about to take you through these phases because I want you to really get it. Now, creation phase. The creation phase is the preformative phase of me making some type of money. It's before I make the money, or rather attract the money. Okay? Now, the next phase is accumulation. This whole framework that I have built is called CAMPD. C-A-M-P-D. CAMPD. Accumulation. The accumulation phase is now I begin to generate revenue. Generating revenue. I want you to type it in the comments. Accumulation is me generating revenue. You have 4 ways to do it. There are only 4 ways to generate revenue. Y'all ready for them? Number 1, work. Become an employee. Everybody know that one. Go get a job. And if you want more money, learn something more. You know, here's the issue. A lot of people, you know, you can actually thrive as a W-2 employee, right? I hope everybody knows that. You can be a successful W-2 employee. But you know the difference between those who succeed and those who don't? It's one word: investment. What I've come to realize about people is a lot of people want more than what they're willing to invest in. Meaning they want the benefits of an investment that they never made. So you want 6 figures of income to come to you, but you haven't invested 1/10 of the 6 figures, or even a 1%, 100th of the 6 figures to actually be qualified to obtain it. Now that investment doesn't always look like money. You haven't put in 100 hours. You haven't put in 1,000 hours yet. You haven't studied 100 hours and applied. You haven't, did 100 offers. There's a rule of 100. Do 100 times, 100 times, 100 times. Until you see a result. Because for every 100, there's at least one. I hope that makes sense. Is that clear? So, if you want to generate more revenue in your W-2 job, you have to increase in your skill set. Go get a certification. Let me give you an example. I had a friend who worked their way up to a multi-6-figure tech person. I don't even know what the job is. They started entry level doing, I don't know, customer service. Yes, it was customer service. And what ended up happening was they were like, you know what? I believe that I can grow in this company, or I can do more with my life, even though I'm at this desk. So what do? They decided to go and get one of the easiest tech certifications. I think I don't even know. There's so many of them. One of the lowest ones, TIA, CompTIA, or something like that. Security, I don't know. Something like that, right? So then they were applying for jobs and were getting denied. Like, they kept applying. They kept sharpening their interviewing skills. They kept doing the investment work, learning and studying, knowing how to communicate to people, knowing how to present value, because sometimes we believe that in order to get a job, we have to give them our resume. No, sometimes you got to get out of the ordinary and say, you know what, I want this job, so I'm going to send the person a video. I'm going to find them on LinkedIn. I'm going to find their email in a software and email them until they find. I'm going to show up at their doorstep because I know that I'm valuable. I've studied the company enough. I've invested my time in learning them, and I am believing that I'm a person of value toward them. If somebody asked you, how or why should I even consider you for this job? What are 3 reasons why? And not no cliche reasons. The reasons have to be connected to a desired outcome that the company wants. I can't go to an interview and say, yeah, I'm good in customer service. They don't care. There are plenty of people they can hire that are good in customer service. What is the value in your customer service? When I communicate to people, I move them to make decisions. When they make decisions, it drives more revenue for your company. Oh, tell me more. Now, because I've said it, I need to have a story to back it up. I remember when one time 1, 2, and 3 happened. This was the problem. They came and talked to me, and the outcome was this. That is effective interviewing. Because it's no longer about what I can do. It's more so about how valuable I can be to them. So I want to make more money. I want more money to come to me. The first step is it has to be created in me. Because if the value systems aren't developed, which is why creation comes before accumulation, then I'm going to go to these places and fail because I don't have the wherewithal within my inner person. I don't have the will to actually pursue and be consistent in my pursuit. That's the first way to make money. The second way is to be a freelancer, to be self-employed. This is you using your energy, your body, your mind, your hands and feet to get a specific result that is not connected to a specific W-2 job. This is freelance work. You're good in graphics. You're good at cutting hair. You're good at doing nails. You're good at doing locks. It's what you know how to do naturally. Some of you can make $10,000 extra dollars right now by doing something that you do naturally. By giving someone something that you do naturally. All you have to do is make a few phone calls and say, hey, do you know if, do you have, no, not even do you know, that's actually not good. Who do you know who may need 1, 2, and 3? Who do you know who may be struggling with their hair care? Who do you know that may be struggling in 1, 2, 3? It's always a struggle because the results that people want are related to a specific struggle. Pick your struggle and help them with it. Are y'all here? I don't see no comments on the YouTube. So the self-employed route, is a route whereby I'm utilizing my energy to get someone else a result that is not related to a W-2 job. Now, let me take this a step further. Let's say that you want to generate more revenue. You feel like you're hitting a plateau. You need to ask a better question. It's not that you're struggling, it's that it's time to grow. What if the struggle that you feel right now is just a sign that it's time for you to grow? You hit a plateau because it's time to grow. You hit a limitation because it's now time for your mind to expand to a different level. You've been working with the same type of people on this level, and now you're frustrated with them because it's now time for you to go to a different level. What is that level? I may need to become someone different or someone better. What if your growth or your plateau is a sign that it's time to expand? And in my expansion, I need to learn something new. I need to learn a different strategy, a different methodology, a different technique. I need something different that has the potential to take me from where I am and what do I have to do? I now have to invest more in me. Alex Hormozy says this, and this is my favorite statement that he's ever said. There's no better investment than the SME 500. Y'all have heard of the S&P 500, right? Standard & Poor's 500 companies that people can invest with, right? You can get 10% doing that. But imagine, right? You go from making $20 a haircut to now doing $2,000 of coaching. Because now I do, not me, now you do personal development coaching for men who are in their late 40s, who are entering into that midlife crisis era. I help brothers who are in their 40s and 50s. I help brothers who are entering into their 40s and 50s still retain confidence that they are the man of the house, even though they don't feel like it. And guess what I charge them now? $2,000. So now, we just went from $20 a haircut to $2,000 over the course of 1 month or 3 months, whatever you do. What type of percent increase is that? That's not a 10% increase, because 10% of 20 is 2. That's not $22. That's $2,000. There's a big difference. That's exponential growth. So if you want exponential growth, you have to have an exponential mentality to invest in yourself. If someone comes to you and says, you want this result, but it's going to cost you $700, you get afraid of it. You know why? Because your mind is limited to think that you're going to lose something if you invest it. Even if what they teach you is not good, because you have the mind of an investor, you've just increased yourself. Think. I want y'all to write this down. My investment is not a loss if I learn something. There's a few things that you're going to learn when you invest. You're going to learn either more about you, or you're going to learn more about who you're going to become. Investment teaches you about where you are and who you are right now, but it also teaches you about who you are supposed to become. Those are the two greatest lessons of an investment. I don't lose money. Type that in the comments. I don't lose money. I don't waste money. You know why? Because I'm in control of it. So if I made a decision to invest $20,000 in something and it seemed like it's not working, it worked on me. It gave me the faith to invest it. Now I have the faith to ask somebody else for it. I don't lose money. I want y'all to type that. Type it more than one time. Type it 7 times, everybody. 7 times. I don't lose money. I don't lose money. I don't lose. I want you to type it as many times because I want you to get that in your mind that your investments are not in vain. Your investments are actually the way that you ascend in your mental capacity. Money is not lost if it's in my hands. If I release it, it has to come back to me because I'm in control of it. And it's not coming back to me because I'm asking for a refund. It's coming back to me because I'm taking what I learned in the process to become someone better. All right. So we're still in accumulation. So we have employee, self-employed, then we have business. All right. So the transitional piece between self-employed and business is very, very interesting because to go from someone who is self-employed to someone who runs a corporation is going to be the result of systematization. When you systematize, now you have a business because a business runs without you and or is functional without you. The transition between self-employed and business owner is one word: systematization. Knowing how to implement systems in your life and business so that you can do the big picture, the big dream, the big vision, and the big team. What are the systems, though? There are sales systems. There are lead generation systems. There are lead conversion systems. There are customer retention systems. There are operations systems. There are team development systems. There are financial systems. There are tax systems. There are organizational, Jesus, systems. I was thinking of 2 words at the same time. Wow. So you have all of these different systems that allow you to be the brains of the business. Because the highest level of value that you can give someone is your thoughts. Here's the problem with many visionaries. They try to be a visionary without being an executor too soon. I used to work for McDonald's. It's actually one of the best jobs I've ever had. Yep. McDonald's don't, you just can't come and decide that you want to be a manager. You're going to have to learn how to be a crew member. You have to learn every part of the business. There's at one point in time that I actually wanted to buy a McDonald's. I still kind of do. I want like a few of them. Maybe that I'll do that in my old age. When I'm, because I think McDonald's is going to be around forever. But in the McDonald's field, realm, whatever you want to call it, I actually know an owner. The one I used to work for, one of my favorite people. We've gone to lunch. He's showed me so many different things about the business and everything like that. But in McDonald's, you can't just start off as owning a McDonald's. It takes a year plus, almost it's 2.5 years to own a McDonald's. And you can't just buy one, you got to buy a collective. And in these 2 years, you're going through the process of understanding each component of the business, because before they trust you to acquire them, they want to entrust that you know what you're doing, so that when you tell people what to do, that you have the history to be able to do so. So you go from crew to crew trainer to assistant manager to store manager to area supervisor to area supervisor. And then you go from that to you get into the corporate side, and then you do operations, and then technology. You have to know all the ins and outs of the business so that you can best prepare people or best hire people. So in the business section, a lot of people I want to just start it and somebody runs it. Well, they don't know what they're doing. They don't know what your expectations are. If you can't sell and or teach people how to sell, then your business is not going to work. You're going to be continually in your business, working in your business, because you don't know how to teach people how to do what you do. So to be a business owner requires you to be not just a visionary, not just an executor, but a teacher, a trainer, a developer. It means that you take talent who may not be good and make them excellent. I do this as a pastor every day. As a senior pastor, this is what I do. Now, that's business. The next one is investor. So you receive portfolio and or dividends, passive and whatnot. Okay, that's how you accumulate. So the investor side is where, you're just investing in stuff and making money, and the money works for you. Okay, so that's accumulation. But in the accumulation phase, you have to know, what is your magic number? What is your number? How much money do you want to make? And how do you want to make it? Do you want to have liquid cash, property cash, cash flow, or dividend cash? That's interest and income, interest income rather. Which one do you want? Do you want to be a cash flow millionaire? Do you want to be a property millionaire? Do you want to be a cash millionaire, meaning it's only cash? If you use $1, you're not a millionaire anymore. What type of millionaire do you want to be? In my opinion, I want to be a cash flow millionaire. You know why? Because cash flows. If you have $1 million and you use $1 million, and you use $1, you're no longer a millionaire. If you have properties, you don't have liquid cash. And we need some liquid cash in the world. So what type of accumulation are you going to do? Are you going to invest in the 401k? What does that look like? Is it just you working, putting the money in the savings? Do not suggest, but you do what you want. That's accumulation. Now, once we have made the money and are making the money consistently, then we enter into multiplication. That's the M. Now, what does multiplication look like? Multiplication looks like me putting my money to work. So when I work with people financially, we talk about a couple different things: savings, debt, all that stuff. We talk about that stuff. And I always ask them the question, where do you want your money to go? Money moves. That should be a book. We'll see. You need to know where you want your money to go. In order for money to multiply, it has to multiply compound. Money making money. How does my money make money? I want to charge interest. How do I become a person that collects interest and not interest being collected from me? Multiplication. If I put this money into this stock, bond, whatever, it will make money. But how do I do this on an exponential scale? One of the most effective, and I'm telling y'all a secret, if you all get to a place whereby you've accumulated a sufficient amount of money and are you still in the accumulation phase and you want to stop working so hard for the money, which you should in general, one of the ways you can do it is to buy a business that's already established. In fact, a lot of boomers are retiring and their kids don't want their businesses. A lot of the baby boomers. Now, in this, when I invest in a business that's established, now my money is making money because I don't technically have to be there. I can set a CEO. I can do I'm buying a business. Is that the same thing as me starting one? Another way is to become an angel investor and invest in startup companies, especially tech companies. Become a high investor or heavily staked investor into the corporation. That's called multiplication. Another way is to invest into real estate. Another way is to invest into antiques. Another way is to invest in things that have the ability to appreciate in value. Anything that can appreciate in value is worth investing in. I was at a funeral a few weeks ago, my best friend's granddad. And one of the things that was communicated is that he had one of these old school cars. I forget what it was called. It was an old school car. And he had to sell it because he started having kids. Now, his daughter was going to go find the car and buy it for him. When she went to the auction, the car was worth $1.2 million. So I began to ask myself a question. What was so valuable that it was worth $1.2 million? I got some stuff that's, thank you, Apostle, like franchise, like Starbucks, Amazon. Yep. You can definitely invest in those. But some of those, you have to be actively in there as an operator. But I was like, wow. But my thoughts was like, how do I become somebody that can create something that, I know people don't like Donald Trump. A lot of people have a much disdain toward him. Understood. But you put his name on anything, if you put his name or his face on anything, it's going to go viral and you're going to make a lot of money from it. You know why? Because his name carries value. What if the multiplication in your life is your name being used and being valuable, something that you create being valuable? People who make music. There was a guy that made background music for some of BET's black sitcoms. Hey, the man is a multi-millionaire. He doesn't have to work again. Okay, I digress. Now, the next phase is preservation. And I'm gonna let y'all go. Because y'all probably, I don't know if y'all tired of me yet. Are y'all tired of me? You can say yes. Is preservation. Preservation is the process of making sure your money don't die. I say this all the time. As you make money, it erodes, meaning it decreases in value. That means that as time progresses, the dollar decreases. If the dollar is decreasing, that means it costs more to buy things. Right? That's the case. A house in 2019 cost $500,000. In 2025, it costs $2.5 million. That's a 5x. And this is real life. What's the difference? The difference is it costs more to live. If it costs more to live, that means that the value of the dollar is decreasing. So if the value of the dollar is decreasing, I need to set up parameters around my finances to where my money is being preserved even while inflation is increasing. One of the ways to preserve your money while inflation is doing what it's doing is to learn how to make it faster. That's a preservation strategy. The other way is to reduce your taxes. The other way is to put your money in vehicles that are tax-free, i.e. insurance. Another way is to put your money in places that are, I don't want to call them secure because nothing in life is secure, but they are more secure, like annuities. If the stock market crashes, it's the perfect time to put your money in places that are more secure. Okay. Preservation, the purpose of preservation is for your money to have longevity. Longevity. This means that you need what? A life insurance plan. This means that you need an estate plan. This means that you need an income generation plan that does not require your energy. One of my biggest goals is to have an asset for every bill that I have. CDs. CDs are, it's okay. They're all right. They're secure, but they don't really do much in these days. I want to have, somebody asked a question on TikTok. If y'all wondering. I want to have an asset for every bill. So if my bills are $10,000 a month, I'm going to have an asset that pays for my bills. So I'm not going to think about paying bills. I'm going to think about how to create an asset. The asset now pays my bills. Hey, stop using energy to pay bills and start using your creativity. The problem with many people is not that they don't have money, they're just not creative enough. I was watching a podcast the other day, and there's this guy who don't know anything about coding, who has a multi-six-figure business coding using AI. It's not that you are broke. You're not. You're just not creative. And you're not thinking toward a problem that you can solve. You're thinking toward the problems that you have. You can't create when all you think about is your own problems. You can only create when you think about other people's problems. So you put other interests before your interests, and then your interests are taken care of. Hello? Is that too much to ask? Yes, you got problems, but the problems are not your money. The problems are your mindsets that are keeping you from the money. You're still stuck in creation phase, and you're supposed to be in preservation phase. Hello? Did I say that too fast? Okay. You're just not creative enough. And you're not resourceful enough either. Here's how I know you're not resourceful. And this is not me being mean. This is me being transparent because I used to think like this too. I just don't have enough. Nobody would ever buy what I'm selling. Why would somebody want to even do this with me? Guess what you just did? Denied all opportunities. You canceled every potential person that may want what you have. You just never asked them. You the problem. You silence your opportunities because you're frustrated about where you are in your current life. If you want your currency to change, you need to change what you put into your current mind. If you want your currency to increase, you must change what you put into your mindset. Creativity is a result of observation. After I observe, I ask a question. Once I ask a question, then I can find an answer. When I find an answer, I can find a solution. When I find a solution, I can present the solution. When I present the solution, I can ask for the money. I want y'all to type in the comments, who has my money? Somebody has your money, but you are letting them keep it instead of it coming into your bank account. You don't have money problems, you have mind problems. 99% of your problems are in your mind. Who has my money? So when we're talking about preservation, we're talking about life insurance plans. You want your money to go to generations. Here's what I think about in life insurance. I'm thinking about my church. I'm thinking about my community. I'm thinking about some endeavors that I want to put into place, even or continue, even after I'm out of this world. And in doing so, it sets me up to always have more because I'm not thinking about me only. I'm thinking about the community centers that can be created upon my death or continued upon my death. I'm thinking about the people's salaries that could be paid upon my death. So in doing so, I'm taking care of my body so I can qualify for more life insurance. Now, I ain't dying no time soon. This is the only y'all know. I got a long time to live. I got by the grace of God, another 90 years. Is that 120? It's like, oh, I think my math is wrong. Y'all get what I'm saying. 92 years. That's how many I want. I want 92 more years. Right? So in that, my vision, because my vision is so vast, I know where I'm going. So I also have tax plans. I don't pay taxes. Not because I don't pay taxes. I don't pay taxes because I know how not to. Legally and ethically. I hope that's clear. But the next phase is distribution. So I'm preserving for distribution. That's why I buy life insurance. That's why I invest into my 401k. Because I don't want to change my lifestyle in retirement. I actually want to increase in my lifestyle in retirement. Here's the problem. A lot of people, they actually go back to work in retirement. You know why? They don't have a plan. It's not because they don't want to. It's the fact that they just didn't have somebody talking to them about this like me. And then they didn't make a decision if they did. So when in the distribution phase, this is where you're in retirement and preparing for the next phase of your life, which is in glory, hopefully. What are you going to leave behind? Every man should have life insurance. Every woman should have life insurance. Every man should have an income generation strategy. Every woman should have an income generation strategy. You should be knowing how to make money, make the money multiply, make the money stay in your house, and make the money stay in your house so that you can give it to somebody else. What are you doing with your money? What questions do we have? I got 9 minutes 9 minutes. Ask me the questions. This was good. Okay. That's why me and my mom just got our life insurance license to Sarasota. Congratulations. Yes. Go sell life insurance. It does well if you know what you're doing. Find you a mentor in it who's successful in it, and learn from them. Do everything they say. That was my biggest mistake. I was too bossy. I learned my lesson though, for the most part. Woo! What do you do? Oh, wait. What do you think about marketing consulting versus product design consulting? It just depends on what your strengths are. It depends on what your skill set is. If you're more skilled in one than the other. I would say whichever one you're more skilled in and the marketplace needs. Consider the need of the market, but in that consideration, knowing the problems and the supply and demand of the market, it's easy to pivot into, I think either one can work. It's a matter of what the market needs. Another question is, should we chase the bag, and how can we prevent greed from creeping in? You should never chase the bag, because if you chase it, it'll run from you. Every time you chase after something, it's the reason why you're chasing it is because it's running away from you. So why would you chase the bag? You are supposed to be somebody who attracts money because you are a person of value. I want you to start considering yourself as a person of value. I'm a person of value, so money comes to me with ease, speed, and abundance. That's my reality. That's where I live in. And the best way to prevent greed from settling into your heart as you start to ascend financially is by being a giver. The more you love to give and to help and serve people, is the less greed can have impact on you. I'm gonna let you in on a secret. Most greedy people are not rich. Most greedy people are broke. It's true. You know why? Because a lot of people who are in greed, I don't want to say, a lot of people who are in lack only focus on their lack. Okay? Most greedy people, or people who struggle with greed, are people who don't have a lot of money, because their only focus is self-preservation. What is greed? Self-preservation. Now, the way they enter into greed is a result of sometimes circumstances that they had no control over. However, it does not negate the fact of what greed actually is. The Bible says that the love of money is the root of all evil, not money itself. Because the Bible also says that money answers all things. So if the Bible says that the love of money is the root of all evil, and money is an answer, so is money the problem, or are we the problem? The other question is, should we go into college to get into debt, or is going to trade school better? It depends on what the purpose of you going to college is. One of the things I don't tell people to do, don't go to college if you don't have a plan. Please. Wasting away in college, oh my God, you can do so much more with that money. What is some advice that you would give the younger generations? Wow. Learn and apply quickly. if I will tell you anything as a younger person, the best thing that you can do, especially when it comes to finances, is learn from someone, learn their patterns, learn their ways, learn what made them successful, and model that so that when your time comes, you have the internal infrastructure to be able to repurpose and reproduce that in your own way. What happens with a lot of young people is that they think they know everything because we're in an age of information. So there's so much information that is presented to us that it's easy for them to believe that they already know. And that is the greatest demise of any person who's young. If you think you know, you will fail. My biggest mistake in the life insurance industry is I thought I knew. And when you move in presumption, you will always lose because you don't have any form in you. So I didn't have a foundation. And whenever there's not a foundation and you move in presumption, you will always end up in failure. So listen the first time when your people tell you what to do, and do it. Can I be Christian and God bless me with a Ferrari? Yes. What's your thoughts on turning cash flow into buying assets to preserve throughout time? That is the framework. Yep, you got to do that. You use your cash flow to buy assets, which is the multiplication and preservation. That's why I said it folds over into each other. When you buy assets for the purpose of cash flow, and buying assets that appreciate in value but also depreciate on your tax return is good for financial preservation. Just gave you a tax strategy and I didn't even charge you. I hope that makes sense. All right, it is 9:59. I have a daughter. She's asleep, but have a family to take care of. Oh wait, one more question. Is it wise to set up your children with a savings account? Yes. Start them saving early, but also you may want to consider getting them a Roth IRA. Because if you get them a Roth IRA, it can appreciate. So by the time they are in adulthood and it may not even necessarily be in a Roth IRA. It could be another vehicle that grows tax free, but also distributes tax free as well. Let me not say that way. It grows tax deferred and it distributes tax free. One of those is life insurance, and there are specific life insurance policies that you can use to help them, grow their finances tax deferred and distributed tax free. Now, if you go the Roth IRA way, wow, that was a tongue twister. If you go that way, it does grow tax deferred, but in the event that the child does not go to college and you distribute that money, you are taxed in you're penalized first, 10% penalty, but you're also taxed at your ordinary income from what I remember rather. All right. I hope that makes sense. All right. Once again, this was amazing. TikTok was great. This was how to begin building out your financial legacy from $0. Whether you are a zeroaire, thousandaire, millionaire, or soon to be heir, you need to prepare for your heir. I'll see you soon. Peace.
Mama said, hold on to the vision, hold on to the dream, hold on to the mission.